Hello, my name is Dr. Maya Byfield. My business is The Phenomenal STEMist. I'm so excited to be here in Orange County because it's where I live. I live in Apopka, Florida. And I decided to make this business because I saw a need for underrepresented students to be successful in STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, math. And the best way I can do that is just provide products for parents to prepare them, whether it's a book or online STEM camps or just video podcasting. My goal is to transform this community, especially those who are underrepresented. And the way to do that is to help parents understand their children's minds and basically develop them at different stages of their lives to be prepared for a successful STEM career. Thank you so much. That's why I'm here.
Hey, 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 it's the phenomenal STEMist. I'm glad to be back. I am glad to be back. I'm so sorry for being away for so long. Phenomenal financial freedom. Um, but I celebrated a special birthday. Celebrated a special birthday, and I said after my little break, I'll come back on Math Money Mondays. So I'm gonna get right into it. But before I do so, I do want to just to remind you about the book, Phenomenal STEMist. It's available on Amazon now. If you want to prepare your child, your nephew, your friend's child, your godchild in STEM, do me a favor, purchase this book for their parents so that they can help in the process. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Trying to get 500 subscribers by the end of the year and another 500 by the next year. So that would be great. I just need about 200 more, 200 and something more. So do me a favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And lastly, but not least, summertime is coming up. I got the June and July STEM camp. So 1 month of preparing your child in physics, chemistry, and biology. um, do me a favor and sign up for that if you are interested. All right, homework is done. Let's jump right into the top 7 ways to invest $1,000. This is coming from Motley Fool. This is a very popular financial literacy website. So this is not my personal opinion, but me just going over the article found online. This was posted on May 10th, just 5 days ago. And I thought it was a pretty good article to really explain what you should do with $1,000 depending on your situation. So, the first step, the first key is put it into savings account. All right. So this is for people who don't have money, right? Who don't have a lot of savings. Um, you need a rainy day fund. So if you do not have a rainy day fund, and this is 3 to 6 months, depending on who you talk to. Some people say 8 months, some people say a year, but you should have at least 3 to 6 months in of your income in saving of your not income of your expenses. So if you have rent, you have mortgage, you have your utilities, your car note. If you don't want to lose these things, you're going to have this just in case you lose your job. So I'm not a fan of a lot of emergency funds. um and it doesn't have to be all save all savings account. You could put it in It depends on what you do. So you should have at least 6 months of emergency fund that you can get access to or quick access to. At least $1,000. You should have at least $1,000 in savings. So if you don't have $1,000 in savings, the first thing you need to invest is a savings account of $1,000. You should have most emergencies don't cost a lot of money, so you can use it and then put it back $1,000. Always have $1,000 in savings, and then some people want to have $3,000 in savings or $5,000 in savings, right? And then the rest of the money can go towards emergency funds in a brokerage account where you have access to it. But my point is, if you only have $200 in savings, you need to put $1,000 in the savings account. Okay? Number one, savings. Save for a rainy day. I'm not a fan of CDs. I'm not a fan of CDs okay, at all. Number two, so let's say, okay, Maya, I have $1,000 in my savings account. So what should I do? So Motley Fool says, okay, step two, invest in your 401k. So what is a 401k? A 401k is basically a retirement account that a job gives you. All right. I'm work for the state, so I don't have a 401k. I have a 403b. All right. So what do I believe about 401ks? Well, 401ks are pre-tax. So they put money in the 401k, and you don't have to pay taxes on it. But as you invest it over your lifetime, when you get to retirement age, when you pull the money out, you got to pay taxes on it. And my thing is, I really, really believe that in 30 years, taxes are going to be expensive. Back in the days, they used to tax people at 90%. Can you imagine taking out your money and most of it goes out in taxes 30 years from now? I'm not going to say it's going to be 90%, but I do believe the taxes are going to be higher in the future to pay for all of these things that we're building up, all the debts that we're building up now. We're going to have to pay for that. And most likely it's going to be tax. It's going to be the taxes. So all of your hundreds of $1,000s that you're building up over time in your 401ks, when you pull it out, you're going to be heavily taxed in the future. So I only think you should give $1,000 to your 401k, and I think Motley Fool is also in agreement, up to the company match. If the company offers a match, right? So if they match up to $1,000, put the whole $1,000 because that's double the money. You give 1,000, they give 1,000. Or, for example, if they offer a 3% match, maybe it's not like 100% match. They're not going to do a 100% match, but it will contribute $30 for every 1,000 you put in, right? So up to the company match, basically. Some people say, actually, Motley Fool says don't stop at the matching. They say you could give up to $20,000. Well, I mean, tax free, that might be helpful. Pre tax, that might be helpful. But you could also put that extra money, at least 6,500 of it, in another type of investment. So some people say do all the way up to the limit. I'm a fan of the company match, and I pay the taxes now and to avoid paying the taxes later. All right. Number two, invest in the 401k up to the match. That's what I think. Up to the match. If they only will match at $1,000, you give it $1,000. Okay. Number three, invest in a Roth IRA. They just say IRA. I say a Roth IRA. That's a individual retirement account. You need one. You need an individual retirement account where you can give up to $6,000 If you are over 50, you can do 7. Everybody I know needs to be maxing out their Roth IRA. It is after taxes, but it grows tax free. So what am I saying? After you put $1,000 in your savings, or if you already have it, the next bet is 401k up to the company match. If they match it up to 1,000, then you match that. But then after you do your up to the company match with the 401k, I wouldn't just stay in the 401k. I would do the Roth IRA. $6,500. Max that out. So more than 1,000, but definitely that 1,000. Let's say you said, Maya, I got an extra $1,000. I maxed at the match. I maxed at my emergency fund. Where should I put it? You need to put it in a Roth IRA because that $1,000 will grow tax free. If you put money in a Roth IRA, $6,500 a year, every year, $6,000, excuse me, every year. Then every year you make money on that money, and you pull that money out, it's 100% tax free. So important. But you shouldn't you won't have access to it until you are 59 and a half. Okay? So after I like the fact that they maxed me out at 6,000. I don't want to put everything in there, but I put all $6,000 in it because that's tax-free growth. I'm not going to put money in a taxable brokerage account when I haven't maxed out my Roth. You understand? Why do you have a Robinhood account? Why do you have a Robinhood account and not have a Roth IRA? You putting money in your Robinhood account, you have to pay taxes on that money every year currently. But if you put that same money that you put in your Robinhood, buy the same stocks. You hear me? You buy the same stocks. You say I bought Apple stock with my Robinhood. You can buy this. You can buy an Apple stock in your Roth IRA. The difference is that Apple stock that grew all that money in your Robinhood account, you got to pay taxes every year on the capital gain if you sell it. Right? Or when you do sell it, you got to pay a whole bunch of money on the capital gain. That same Apple stock that you bought using a IRA, you pay 0%. How do you have a Robinhood account and not a Roth IRA? It blows my mind. It blows my mind. Who's watching? I see some of y'all watching. So, the next step, you see what I'm saying? The first thing is, do you have money in your savings? If you don't have money in your savings, at least an emergency fund of $1,000, you got to put $1,000. Say, okay, I got that. Okay, next thing is your retirement account with your job matches. Have you matched that out? Yes, you matched that out. Okay, all right. So then you move to the next step, right? A Roth. Why? Because if you put too much money in your in your 401k, when you pull it out, you're going to be paying taxes on it. But if you take that same $66,000 that you put in your 401k and you put it in your Roth, you understand? The 6,000 is above the match. $6,000 above the match, meaning they're not going to match that $6,000. So you might as well put it in something that, even though they won't match you, it will grow tax free. That's why that's the next best bet after the match of the 401k. The rest of your money, you need to max out your Roth IRA that grows tax free. It grows tax free year after year, so I can buy and sell in my Roth IRA. And as long as I don't pull it out and put it in my bank account, they won't fine me, they won't give me no fees, they won't charge me taxes on it. But if I take that same behavior and sell and buy and do all that kind of stuff in another account, they're going to be taxing me every year and when I'm older. You understand? So it's best to open up a Roth IRA so that your money can grow tax free. That's one thing for sure, death and taxes. Number 4. So okay, say Maya, like me. Maya, I maxed out my Roth IRA. I cannot, the rules are that you cannot put more than $6,000 every year, and you have up to April the 15th to do so. The rules are, Maya, I make too much money for a Roth IRA. You only can make about 150,000. So be careful of getting these jobs where you're making way more than 150,000 and it's not worth the taxes that you're working. Like, okay? So some of y'all be careful now. Unless you're making a lot of money, don't make a little money over 150,000 cuz you'll lose the opportunity to invest in a Roth IRA for a couple of $1,000s that's not worth the free benefit of having a Roth IRA. You understand? So take the pay cut. You understand? Like, or use a business to make your side money. Do not have two jobs making a whole bunch of money. You're just paying a lot of taxes for nothing. Right? Have one job and another job that makes enough that you can keep your benefits of not being a millionaire. Either you're gonna be a millionaire or you're not. But don't mess around and make too much money and don't get the benefits of making that money, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. Be a consultant and make your side hustle money. And then you can do other things to keep your Roth IRA. Number 4. So you have money in the savings, you have money in your 401k, you've maxed out your Roth, or you just too rich for a Roth. What do you do next with that $1,000? Well, you open up a brokerage account. You open up a brokerage account. There's Charles Schwab. I know they've been in the news lately, but they're the biggest, largest brokerage account, and I think they bought Fidelity. Like, so they're even larger. So there used to be Schwab and Fidelity. You could get a Roth IRA anywhere, but you E-Trade. You can get a taxable brokerage account online. E-Trade, Robinhood, whatever you want. It's taxable though, but it's still good because I'd rather pay the taxes now than later. I really believe that taxes will be extremely expensive in the future. All right. So after you maxed out your 401k and you've maxed out your Roth IRA, you maxed out your emergency fund, still got $1,000 left. What do? Then put it in another brokerage account. I like robot accounts. Like, you could do that for your Roth. You could do that robo investing. It's low. Robo investors is basically the artificial intelligence seeing what's going on, and they're using all their kind of algorithms. Um, they know way better than me, and they can make predictions way better than me. So I have robots working on my taxable brokerage account, and I just put a little bit of money each month in it and let the robots do their thing. You see? So in my Roth IRA, I'm in charge of my Roth IRA, but if you wanted to, you could do robots in there too. But I just use their guide as to what to buy, and I think about whatever. My brokerage account, because I'm not a serious investor, I just let the robots do it. And according to Motley Fool, they charge like maybe 3%, 0.03%. Their fees are very, very low. All right. So just put dollar cost averaging is what we call it. Every month, put $100 a month. Talking about how to invest $1,000. $100 a month is $1,200. It's $100 a month. Stop going to Starbucks. Stop eating out. What else do you pay $100 for? Just whatever you pay $100 for, try to hold it, and then dollar cost average every month in that taxable brokerage account, whether you get small investments or stocks or help a robot do it for you. Number 5, exchange traded funds. So let's say you open a brokerage account, you open a Roth IRA. What should I buy in it? And a lot of people don't know what a Roth IRA is. A Roth IRA is just a savings account. It's an account. You put money in it, And then it gives you the ability to buy stocks and index funds and exchange funds and things like that. And you could do it tax free. That's what a Roth IRA is. So in your mind, you're like, I just have all this money in the fund, I mean in the IRA, but I don't know what to do with it. You're supposed to buy stocks with it. But the first thing you need to do is is basically be simple with it, an index fund. Like there are different types of indexes. There's the Dow Jones and there's the S&P 500 index. These are just basically stock market funds that have a collection of a whole bunch of really, really good stocks, that the top 500, the top 100 stocks. So instead of just picking Apple and picking Google and picking Tesla, where you don't know what they're doing, you don't have that skill set, you should at least, I heard this from Warren Buffett, before you start talking about messing with stocks, have you invested $10,000 in a simple S&P 500 index fund? Your first 10,000 needs to be that before you start dabbling in stocks. And the next needs to be exchange traded funds. These are a little bit more volatile than index funds. They go along with the market. You can buy them on site. They're a little bit more specific to the industry you're thinking about. Like let's say I want to have an exchange traded fund on technology. So basically the Googles, the Apples, the Facebooks, they have a whole bunch of core stocks in a smaller fund, and so it's a little, if you pick right, it can be really good for you. You can have extensive growth, much more growth. But if you pick wrong, you could have just as a downside. So the index funds are the safest because it's way broad, so it's the safest, but you don't get the biggest bang for your buck. But at least the first $10,000 of your, so meaning the first 2 years of you investing. Let's say you just got a job and you put 6,000 this year, 6,000 next year. You have $12,000. The first 10 of that needs to be in index funds, and then you can start messing with the two. You understand? Yeah, you can start putting it in exchange traded funds, where it's like technology and healthcare, that those things I don't believe are ever gonna go south. It's a safer. Number 6, actually I forgot they had a different, they said use a robo advisor. I kind of included that with the other. But a robo advisor, like for every 10,000, they might charge you $3. The fees are low, and it's a robot. It's artificial intelligence, which I have a high level of respect for in the context of predictions based on patterns. I've been seeing artificial intelligence and how it works, and it's so good at recognizing patterns way faster than I ever could. So there are special companies. Charles Schwab has it. Fidelity has it, where artificial intelligence will make decisions based on the what's going on. So you don't even have to worry about what's going on in the stock market. The stock market crashes, it goes up. The robot will start messing with stuff. You see, the robot will do it for you, and you don't have to panic. So I think robo investing is something that you can invest with. Number seven, lastly, stocks. Stocks. S- Individual stocks. That's after you've done everything else. You understand? After you've done savings and you've maxed out on your emergency fund. After you've maxed out on the company match with the 401k. You don't throw away free money, right? They'll match you up to a certain amount. You exhaust that second. After you exhausted the match where they're not going to give you any more money on top of what you have, then there's no benefit, other than getting lower taxes now, which I personally feel is not a benefit, especially when we have higher taxes in the future. I'd rather pay the taxes now than I'd rather pay 20% taxes now than 50% taxes later. You understand? On more money. So the match is the only value. If you have a job that doesn't match your money, I would do the next step, which is the Roth IRA. The Roth IRA. Why? Because I'd rather pay taxes now than later. Number one. I mean, that's it. I'd rather pay taxes now than later. And Roth IRA has a lot of different funds you can buy. Index funds is the first. And then after you've really mastered index funds, exchange traded funds based on, sectors like healthcare and technology, things that is have lasted the test of time. You got to go safe first. I guess that's the point of Motley Fool's paper. You got to go safe first. But then after you're safe with the index funds, you're safe with the exchange traded funds, and you have more money. Like, well, what do I do with more money? Well, then now you can get a taxable brokerage account, E-Trade, Charles Schwab, Fidelity, Robinhood, all of these guys, the ones that you have to pay taxes on. It's okay. It's still better than having your money just sitting in cash and inflation taking away from it. So what do you invest in that? What do you invest in that one? Well, you invest using a robot. Let a robot help you. That's safe. And then after you learn from the robot, after you learn from watching and learning, then you could do it by yourself. Then you can start dibbling and dabbling in individual stocks. You see, you don't dibble and dabble in individual stocks until late after you've learned a lot. Because individual stocks are very volatile. Do I have individual stocks? Absolutely. If you want to know what they are, you'll have to talk to me offline. But that's after I learned about index funds. That's after I learned about exchange traded funds, and it's just certain stocks that I really, really, really believe cannot fail. I don't buy a lot of stocks because a lot of stocks could fail. Companies fail so easily now. So it has to be something that's too big to fail, that has been proven by America over hundreds of years. There's only a few companies where the government will decide to save that company, right? That means they're too big to fail. The government won't let them fail. If the government won't let them fail, I'm buying their stock. You understand? That's how I make decisions. Something that I really, really believe is too big to fail. Other than that, I don't mess around with individual stocks too tough. I'm not a professional. I'm an index funds kind of girl. I'm an exchange trade funds type of girl. And I'm a too big to fail stock kind of girl. I'm diversified. The only thing I think was missing from Motley Fool, and no Brandon. I need to hook up with Brandon again to have a good conversation with him on real estate. They didn't mention real estate, but you can't do anything with real estate with $1,000. And I guess they're not a fan of REITs, REITs. They're obviously not a big fan of those. But if you had more than $1,000, then definitely real estate, right? So, guys, it's 30 minutes. I try not to go more than that. It's been really, really, really great coming back. I hope that this was beneficial for you. Feel free to support. You guys have a great night.